Fam, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of the CEO Pulse Podcast, where you get the real, the raw, and the mind of entrepreneurship. Special episode of the Mindset Monday series. And I say special because I think we're both dealing with this right now, right? The question is, your results suck. What are you avoiding, right? And again, one thing that I want to highlight before I make my famous introduction of my co-host, is that we're always going through different things and different challenges, right? At the end of the day, we are the base of everything that happens. So we're gonna unpack that whole thing. We're gonna use some of the examples and stuff that we're going through right now, and be completely vulnerable on a few things, and just rock and roll. Now, with that being said, with us we have, as you know, my co-host, Justin Thorstad.
Love it. Thank you. Thank you.
That was like
the warm introduction.
Cliffhanger at the
I caught that.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
That's good.
Awesome. So Justin, let's break it down, dude. I mean, we have, we're kind of bouncing, back and forth on how to phrase this, right? But at the end of the day, it really comes down to the results that we have as human beings, not just entrepreneurs, and then the reality that the magic that we look for, which is something you said earlier, the magic that we look for is in the stuff that we're avoiding, right?
Yeah.
So why are we not taking the actions when we know what the actions are? I mean, and I've done it myself, right? Where I pay somebody to tell me what to do, go to mentors, and teach me, show me this process, and it's still like, no, I have my way is the right way or whatever. But we're so fixated on certain ways of doing things. And a lot of times it comes down to avoidance and that platform of fear. So
yeah, 100%. I mean, at the end of the day, like for you personally, like in your life and in your business, do you not know what you should be doing?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like it's obvious. And so the question is, why are we not doing it? And we kind of started this conversation because we check in and Raf's like, how you doing? And I'm like, man, I'm fucking frustrated. And so we unpacked that a little bit. My frustration is basically some of the people that I'm leading, they're not doing the things they're being coached to do.
Yeah.
And therefore they're not producing the highest and best results. They're producing good results, but they're not great, right? And so that's frustrating because you're leaving a lot on the table of what's available, the potential opportunities, the success, the self-respect. And one thing, you said we're going to be transparent and vulnerable, which I believe we always are, which is fantastic. I mean, that's part of the value of the show, right? The bottom line is this. If you are frustrated with something in your reality, it's simply just a mirror. It's pointing back to you, reflecting back to you that you yourself aren't doing it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, how else would you have that point of reference to see it in others if you didn't see it in yourself?
Okay, break it down. Just dissect that for a second. I think there's a lot there.
Sure. So like for myself, I run 10 companies and there's one in particular that I want to breathe life back into and do a lot of cool shit and have some fun. And I find myself overwhelmed with tasky to do things, right?
Yeah.
Well, I can easily go victim to that and say, well, that's because this person won't do that and this, it's all external.
Yeah.
Or I can say, okay, fucker, like sit down and do what you know you're supposed to do. Which I know what to do. It's like 80% of what I'm doing, I shouldn't be doing. And it must be delegated. And delegated with like written roles and responsibilities and agreements with the people that are going to be delegated to and what they're going to handle so that my time is freed up, my attention span, I can focus on a thing. Because, man, when you focus on a thing and you're in that flow state, like you create so much effortlessly. You get in that flow state and things just seem to unfold for your benefit. And I haven't been in that state consistently for some time now. Why? Well, because I'm paying attention to dumb shit. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, and it's got to get done, but I haven't delegated it yet. So I'm frustrated at my results because they're not what I know they could be. And I've experienced before, but I'm in the way. And so it's like, why am I not doing that? Well, since I haven't been in that space in a little while, maybe there's a little fear coming back. Because like when I was doing that thing with that business, man, the results were amazing. But before getting started, like some doubt creeped in, that little inner roommate.
Down in the sense of what? Like the sense of delegating and then fearing that the things were not going to be handled and kind of micromanaging back to like square one or what?
What specifically for my situation was the seminars that I was doing.
Yeah.
I'd never done it before, yada, yada. But I got excited about the idea and the possibility and the event itself, right?
Right.
And I mean, 9 months I worked on this thing and got up 2 weeks before the event and this little voice popped in. And it's like, what if nobody buys tickets?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What if what if you choke on stage? You know, all those kinds of things. So I told my coach, I'm like, hey man, this is happening. And like, I listened to it, identified with it as if it could be true. And all of a sudden it consumed me. And, you know, he talked me through that and told me, and basically the bottom line was like, that voice is only popping up because you're about to do something big and it wants to keep you safe and from harm and danger. But there is no danger. Like, it's just a story, right? Of course people are going to buy tickets. They already have. Now, it's not to the level that you want, but you're still moving forward and you still got 2 weeks. And besides, you know, he does seminars and stuff. He says most ticket sales don't happen until like the last minute, like the week of and the couple of days before the event. That's when the most amount of ticket sales come in. So he's like, just keep doing what you're doing. Thank that voice for showing up because it's there to keep you safe because you're about to do something big. So thanks so much, but I'm moving forward. And I did it. And it was a massive success, man. And I had so much fun. And I did another event, and so many ancillary things that spun off of that. However, it's been like a year and a half. And so I want to get back into that space because it's a lot of fun.
You got ring rust.
Yeah. And so that voice is a little louder now because I'm out of practice and keeping it at bay with that one thing.
Yeah.
And so naturally, I just find myself spontaneously not doing the things I got to do, delegating, in order to free up my mental bandwidth and my time, my schedule, so that I can invest back into that because there's a lot of revisions I want to make, I want to evolve it, all that kind of stuff. And so I have some frustration with myself. Naturally, I'm seeing it in the others that I'm coaching of like, hey, why aren't you doing the things you know you need to be doing? Da-da-da-da-da. It's like, hey, coach, are you practicing what you preach?
Yeah.
You know? No, I'm frustrated with myself because I'm not. And so now I'm frustrated with you because you're not doing it too. Yeah.
Well, so let me take it back a couple steps here. I mean, this is important, right? It's the fact that, for example, we're always talking about mindset. We're always talking about standing in responsibility and standing, you know, and owning your results, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't mean that we don't waver from it. Like it's a constant reminder. I think the practice is the constant reminder of okay, cool, this is what I have to focus on. For example, one question that I ask myself all the time is what's my highest and best? What's my highest and best? What's my highest and best? And I'll find myself getting sucked into the tasky stuff, right? And if I'm not aware, if I lose track of it for, dude, I don't know, 4 hours. I'm like, oh shit. I mean, I spent 4 hours doing this thing that can be done by a VA.
Oh yeah.
Right. Because my mind just went there. So it's almost like it's a constant practice. It's a constant reminder. Like, what's my highest and best? What's my highest and best?
Moment by moment.
And even if I wanna, stay in that space, which to your point of fear. A lot of times when I stay doing something is because, okay, I know I have this shit figured out. I know what I need to do here. But I need to figure out bigger things that they're not quite clear yet, right?
Yeah, but you know you can handle that task.
Right, so I can handle this little task, and it gives me that fix of okay, cool, productivity and
progress.
But at the end of the day, it's busy work because it's not my highest and
100%.
best. Somebody else can
it's bullshit busyness.
That.
Yeah.
So so jumping into that other space where there's stuff that needs to be handled, needs to be figured out. It's not necessarily clear. It's also a practice, right? It's a muscle, man, that we have to just kind of, get with it. And the crazy thing is that we don't have to walk that path alone. A lot of times, all these roads have been, walked before.
Yeah, you ain't doing shit that's that new.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah. So even there's resources, there's people there. What I'm trying to get to is like the information, the how to is already there. Now, what are we avoiding as human beings, at an individual level, right? What are we avoiding that does not allow us internally to be okay with that how to?
Yeah, it's a self-imposed limitation.
Yeah.
100%. It's just a story.
Yeah.
And so the question is, and yeah, like you said, I mean, that's totally authentic. Is like you find yourself spontaneously just doing some task because you can get it done, right? So my thing is, okay, so like when I created that seminar, man, my schedule was clear. I had designated days to create content and do all that. And man, I was really in the flow state, in my zone. And I was having a lot of fun. However, I didn't have interruptions either.
Right.
Now, a distraction, like people say, oh, I get distracted easily. It's like, no, you lose focus easy. You know what I mean? Like it's a choice to go from focused on a thing to paying attention to something else.
You know, one thing that I that I did at one point, and this was a while back, right? But I started doing the math, just hourly, kind of like, okay, cool, regular 40-hour week. What would that look like? Not that I do regular 40-hour weeks.
It's about 120 hours.
Yeah, it's 120 hours, 80 at least. But I started doing like, just because I wanted to put some perspective to it, right? Like to the stuff that I was focusing on. And I did some math. It was like figured out that an hour of my time is at that point was worth about $1,200, right? So it's like $1,200 for an hour of my time. Like that's, if I'm focusing, producing, doing my thing, like that's what it is. So, I took that number and then I rolled it into everything else. So when I'm working on something like, and I don't want to say stupid or silly, right? But it's something that's not my highest and best.
Right.
It's like, man, this is a $20 an hour job. And then I think I go back and I think about my $1,200 an hour number, right?
Yeah.
That I pulled because of the results and the hourly and just the collective of everything. I was like, man, this is off. So anyways, it painted that perspective. Give me clarity on that, right? So now I have some sense of what monetarily what the time is worth, which is crazy. And then the only question left is like, okay, cool. Why am I still focusing on $15, $20 tasks,
man,
when my time is worth $1,200 an hour?
I appreciate you bringing this up because there was a time when I did that, and this was a number of years ago, and I found out that my hourly was $350 at the time.
Yeah.
And so my perspective was, okay, I'm not gonna like clean my yard. I'm not gonna spray the weeds. I'm not gonna clean my pool. I'm not gonna do my laundry.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do anything.
That explains a lot.
Right? Sorry, I wear the same thing every day. No, I'm kidding. I have 10 of these. So my point is this. I wasn't going to do any action that I didn't want to do that didn't earn me at least $350 an hour or more.
Yeah.
Because I can pay someone to do that. And if I find myself doing it and I don't derive joy from the action, that I don't get fulfillment from it, then I'm losing money because I'm not earning $350 an hour. I'm spending my time doing something that doesn't earn me anything. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so over the years, hourly rates increased, and I've gotten away from that practice of that check-in, that point of reference on, my time is worth X, and if I'm doing this dumb thing over here to feel productive, that's ridiculous. What I'm really doing is I'm avoiding those actions, and the truth of the matter is, like you said in the beginning, the magic we seek is in the actions we're avoiding. Truly, because that's where the transformation is. That's where the growth is. That's where the opportunities lie. That's where the flow state is. Like all the beautiful things exist in those actions you're avoiding. Yeah. And you don't get to realize the beautiful benefits of those until you take the action.
Yeah, and I mean that's deep, right? Because okay, like how can I take the actions if I don't have that sense of, well, I mean, it can be multiple different things. It can be a sense of worth. It can be just insecurity about the field that you're in. So many different things, right? How do I go about it and take the action? I mean, we see, we call them seminar junkies, right? People who go to seminar after seminar after seminar after seminar. 2-3 years go by and, still on the same spot with all the theoretical knowledge.
They memorize it all.
It's all, they'll be correcting people on stage, right? But the action is not there. So one the reason we bring all this up is because it's important to understand what are we avoiding, right? As individuals. What is it that I'm afraid of, and what is it that's holding me back from taking that next step, taking that action that I know needs to be done. The path is, or if you don't have the how to, right? It's not that difficult to find it.
Well, and that's bullshit too. When people say, I don't know how. It's like, you're so inaccurate because you know one thing you can do. No, and I don't care how seemingly insignificantly small that action item is.
Yeah.
You know a step. And you know what? The cool thing is, when you take that one seemingly insignificant small step,
The next one gets revealed.
it appears. And you don't need to know what it is until you take that first action because
Yeah.
it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you can't take action step number 2 if you don't take number 1.
Yeah. So be aware about the stuff that's holding you back, right? It can be fear, it can be fear of loss, it can be fear of success. It can be criticism. It can be, I don't know, like maybe if I do this, I'm not gonna, be part of the crew or the crowd that I'm, and there's so many stupid things that go through our mind, man,
Yeah.
that really inhibit us. I spend, I'm not necessarily a philosopher, but I spend a lot of time in my head, just critically thinking about stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, where's that thought coming from? Where is that thought process coming from?
Self-reflection.
Where is that emotion coming from? And self-reflection, teaches you volumes, right? If you're completely honest with yourself.
There's nothing more important to study than you. You know what I mean? So, as you said.
Thank you. I think I'm very important to study.
That's not what I meant. But the bottom line is, if you're avoiding taking any action and you sit with yourself and you really want to know why, the answer will become self-evident. And it's very simple. There's a story that's running, that inner voice, that roommate, that's saying something, and you're listening to it as if it's true.
Yeah.
But you got to identify and just become aware and honest with yourself that it's just a story. And it's probably full of shit. In fact, it is. And so it's like, I was talking with an agent today, coaching, and she said, so I just tell that voice to shut up. And I said, and then it gets louder, doesn't it? And she's like, yeah. It's like, what you resist persists, because if you're telling that voice to shut up, that's because you don't like what it's saying and you don't like how you feel and you want something different. That's good. There's a desire there. However, it's hooked your attention and now you're fighting with it, which means you're feeding it energy. Energy flows where attention goes. You're paying attention to it, you're feeding it. That's why what you resist persists. So instead of being in resistance to it, why don't you switch your focus to what you really desire and look at the potential opportunities and the beautiful things that can unfold, the possibilities. Pay attention to that. And then you're not feeding the mind. It'll start to quiet down, and pretty soon an ignored guest tends to leave.
The fallacy is I think is to overthink things, right? Like I feel like sometimes the more thought I put into it, the more I'm gonna understand it. But then what happens is that our brain acts in very interesting ways, right? Like we find a thread, we find the wrong thread, we're gonna start pulling on the wrong thread, and then that'll create a perceived fear, right? And then that'll create another one. Next thing you know, we're in this big story of what could go wrong, and it's like it's catastrophic, as opposed to like breaking it, down and bringing things back to basics and looking at the actual stuff that's around us. Case in point, we were looking at a deal the other day. We were talking about disposition, so we were selling the deal, and I had my acquisition guy. I had dispositions, was on the call. Shout out to both of them, Dan and Jesus, rock stars, and we're just like we were having issues with this one particular deal, right? And the seller is just like he's changing his mind and he's acting crazy towards like the close of escrow and whatnot. There's a tenant in place, and that's that's been a headache. The buyer was kind of scared. Anyways, like all the pieces were just kind of wavery.
Yeah.
Right. And then we had an issue pop up with a date. So we talked about the date, and then we started talking about potentialities. Like we started talking, oh shit, well what if like this happens and then that's going to break the deal, is going to kick us out of the deal. So let's figure out how to do this, have this negotiation with this person, and then talk to the tenant about this, and then we'll do cash for keys, and then we'll do, so we started strategizing and going, like we went into this deep combo.
I can tell where this is going.
And finally, like well, what if the seller is okay with a date change? Like that was like the simplest fucking thing, right?
Let's not start there.
Yeah, no, let's not start with the simple thing. So we went and elaborated this whole strategy behind how the deal was we were gonna force it to pan out, and ended up calling the party involved, right? It was like, yeah, that's fine, it's not a problem, yeah, it's cool. I was like, shit, man. So, but we were spinning. You know what I mean?
Yeah, planning for war.
Yeah, exactly. So not that it's bad to have pre-plans, right, or pre-game, but or a game plan, but at the end of the day, like, we create catastrophic events in our mind.
Yeah.
So think about that kind of stuff, right? When you're looking at launching, when you're looking at new challenges, when you're sitting there and you're contemplating, why are you focused on $10 tasks when your time is worth $1,200 an hour?
Man.
You know what I mean? It's important to understand that, because that thought process is going to show you where everything is coming from.
So if you've got some fear holding you back, or you just find yourself avoiding taking that action, hesitating, deflecting, whatever, busyness, what I found to be helpful is to sit down with a damn piece of paper and a pen and just write out, when was the last time that I was scared to do something, but I took action, and the whole story I had around it was wrong. That narrative was false, and here was the outcome that I'm proud of, or I won, I was successful. Because when you can open that door, you can just crack it open, it'll swing wide open, and you'll find more and more situations where you took action anyways, and it worked out for your benefit. And man, that's a resource. Because again, if you're not focusing on where you're going and why you're going there, and you're not able to get yourself into action, it's because you're identifying with the stories of the mind and what it's saying to continue to hold you back. It's designed to do that. I think people don't really understand that. Like, it's wired by default to keep you safe. That's dangerous. And it's like, no, there's no saber-tooth tiger going to, jump out and attack me if I come out of the cave. Like, it's just a fucking story. And so resourcing yourself to get your emotions like in alignment with where you truly want to go is forward moving. It's empowering. And you already have evidence.
Have the understanding, right, that if you made it this far in life, it's because you figured out every other day in your life. If you're listening to this, you haven't died
yet.
So yeah, exactly. So there's you have the capacity, you have the ability to do stuff. You have the ability to reach out further than what your box is, right? If you have created a box, and that's important, man. And it's like that's where the that's where the magic of life really is, I think.
I'm listening to this audiobook, and I just heard something in it yesterday, and the guy said, we're all born with the capability to develop our capabilities. And I was like, damn. I mean, that's so simple, but it's deep and profound. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, you're capable. Like, hold yourself capable. And so if you got to resource yourself with prior evidence, points of reference, like, do that. Because then when you start listing a couple of them, more come out, and you're like, oh yeah, that one, oh yeah, this one. It's like, man, you can't unsee that. And now when you're looking at that and you listen to the mind, it's like, no, it tried to stop me that one time that I just wrote down, and I went for it anyways, and I won. So, like, you're full of shit. I'm not paying attention to you. I'm going to pay attention to where I'm going and why I'm going there, and look at me get my ass on fire.
Yeah, exactly. So understand, right? Like, the capability of doing great things is there. The information, more than likely, you're able to compile it, one way or another, either through coaches, through mentoring, through studying, through network groups, through, squatting up with somebody else who's already walked the path. Like, that's no excuse. The nuts and bolts is never, when people come to me, for example, for coaching, it's, the nuts and bolts is kind of like the hook, right? But it's never the issue. No, it's never the issue. There's always, some type of mental block, something there that's stopping people from actually taking that next step. So figure out what that is, right? And ask yourself the question, like, what is holding me back? If I want this type of life, if I want this, type of result, why don't I have it yet, right? And what's the like? Be completely honest with with yourself in a very introspective way, and ask yourself the question: okay, what is it? Am I afraid of this? Am I, is it success? That I don't want to get into that space. what am I gonna have to do? Am I gonna have to have conversations with people and actually, go out there and make connections and network and expand my perspective, or
open my asshole?
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
yeah.
Like,
that was very graphic, but
well,
yeah.
that's what it is.
Yeah, it is. You ask.
People don't read minds. There's no telepathy yet. I mean, it'd be really cool though.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. It's important, man, right? And then we have that, right? So that's one point of it. Then the other one is like, okay, now we have all the info. We have, the resources. We have, everything else. We have the tutoring, the hand-holding sometimes. And yet we're so ingrained and so fixated on the same type of stuff that hasn't given us a result in years.
Yeah.
Right?
And I think one of the greatest ways to get into action, at least I found for me, have a coach. Because if you think about it, like, you get it with your coach.
Yeah.
And you're talking about what's holding you back.
Yeah.
Like, and sometimes people need to, like, say it so they can hear themselves and like, oh my God, that's ridiculous. But also it's like, if you start coaching with somebody and they don't have any wiggle room in regards to your bullshit, right?
Yeah.
It's a good coach. And you can't hide, you know what I mean? There's no cool story. Like, don't waste my time.
Yeah.
Like, you got to think about, okay, I'm afraid and I don't want to do this, so I got to sell him a story or her. It's like, no, I'm not going to do that. It's a waste of my time and my money, and it just doesn't honor me. So, like, okay, so what am I going to do on this call? What am I going to commit to? Because what the hell else are you going to do on the call? You know what I mean? And so it kind of forces you to be in that mindset of forward movement and to call yourself out. And what you said about asking yourself those questions, what's holding me back? Here's the truth of the matter. People are always saying, I don't know what it is. And it's like, bullshit. You're the one doing it. Now, you got to really want to know the answer.
You have time for Netflix, but you don't have time to sit there with your brain and ask yourself the question and get an answer out of it.
So if you really want to know the answer, you got to ask yourself the question, and you do know. It might take a little time to sit with yourself and, relax a little bit, quiet that mind, and really tune into yourself. But what the hell else you doing is a better investment of your time? Netflix? Hulu? Like, get the fuck.
Yeah.
Get out of here. And that behavior shows what you're really committed to. And there's nothing wrong with watching TV. I'm not saying that.
You want to see what your priorities really are? Look at your bank account.
100%. And then grab your damn phone and see how much time you spend on social media.
We can say our priorities are this, and that. Yeah. But go take a look at your bank account statement. And that shit's going to line out what your priorities are.
The only way to judge someone is based on their results. Yeah. They're often harsh, but it's always fair. It's a fair representation of what you're committed to.
And on the bank account, I'm not talking about like the bank balance. I'm talking about where you're spending all the money.
Sure.
Look at your expenditure.
Yeah.
Boom, 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 boom.
Well, it ain't how much money you make that matters. It's how much you keep of what you make.
No, but that if you haven't done it, and I urge you, anybody listening, if you haven't done that, like actually paid attention to your bank statement, and we're thinking that we have, okay, my priority is time, is this, it's family, it's we have this whole laundry list that sounds great, right?
Looks good on paper.
Yeah, it looks really good on paper, and then you go to the bank statement, and then you actually see where you're spending money at. What you're spending money on.
Took time to do that.
Yeah, and then it's we prioritize cash, right? Because without cash, we
less options.
Yeah, the less options. You can't do much. So anyways, like take a look at that kind of stuff, and then have your real talk with yourself. Let me know what happens.
100%. Yeah. If you're still confused after that, like drop a comment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really.
So. But yeah, it's important, right? It's not that it's like the world's biggest secret, but I think the tough part about something like that is really having that face-to-face conversation with ourselves. Okay, like cutting out the bullshit, cutting out the ego, cutting out all the noise, and really centering on the stuff that we want as individuals, that we want as human beings. I've seen it time and time again, and I've been caught on the same race, right, where I'm running towards something. And shit, I was just talking about this yesterday with Todd. Where I'm running towards something, and then it's like, man, is this the race that you've been running for a while, right? Like it's not like you just started the race, like you've been at it for a while, and then you ask the question, like, is this in alignment with the type of stuff, or is there something that I can tweak to make it come back into alignment, right?
Yeah.
But you have to ask yourself, the question, be completely, vulnerable and honest with yourself. Leave the ego aside. It's not a significance thing. It's not, it's about joy. It's about smiles. It's about like the type of quality
fulfillment.
Fulfillment, the type of life that I want to live, right? What quality of life do I want to experience? And I feel like sometimes that can be a loaded question because we want this, and that, but then the actions are not being taken.
Well, not only that, but I mean, this is going down different rabbit holes, so I won't go on a deep tangent, but if you think about the things that you want and really sit with yourself and you're honest, you're transparent, why do you want those things? Because you think you're going to get something from it, a feeling, an emotion that you don't currently have. Yeah. And, you know, you can work with something external causes you to feel something, or you can feel something that causes something external.
Yeah.
You just got to pick. But again, that's a different episode.
Yeah, I agree. I concur. So, with that being said, anything else you want to add?
I think I'm complete. That was good.
Yeah, I'm complete.
But now you got to do something with the information. And so I'll tell you what, I'll have you my 80-20 list by midnight.
Ooh, I love that. I'm going to hold them accountable to it.
Yeah, because, well, I want to win. You know what I mean? Like, nothing stops me but me.
Yeah. Break down the 80-20 list.
So 80% of what I'm doing, that's that busyness that I think is got to get done by me, that I haven't delegated yet.
Yep.
And so in order to delegate it, it's not just a verbal conversation. It's written roles and responsibilities. Here's what you can do. Here's how to do it and how to report back to me so I can inspect what I expect.
Yep.
So that I can focus on my 20% that produces my 80% of my results.
Highest and best.
Yeah, man.
Highest and best.
I'm fucking sick and tired of being sick and tired of
What does that look like on paper? Do you have 1 column, 2 columns, 3 columns?
So it's going to be a couple of sheets, but most predominantly it's like, here's all the things that I'm doing, broken down into 2 columns. 80% that doesn't have to get done by me, and the 20% that does get done by me that I enjoy doing. I get fulfillment. Yeah. I derive joy from doing those things, and I produce great results.
Boom. Easy peasy, super simple, and a very, very good way of prioritizing your stuff, right? So with that being said, I mean, that was good. That was really good. Thank you for that.
Yeah, man.
So if somebody wants to get a hold of you, reach out, continue the conversation, where is the best place to find you?
Yeah, lots of places. JustinThorstad.com, Facebook, Instagram, my cell phone, 602-348-8534.
Fire. Awesome. Fam, do us a favor. If you like the podcast, if you like the conversations that we have with you guys on a regular basis, make sure that you subscribe, like, and share. Follow me on social media at Rafael Cortez CEO. That's my handle everywhere. Shoot us a message, right? This is a two-way conversation. It's not, the intention behind this is to just put some light on what happens, on the mindset and like the mental journey of entrepreneurship. It's highs, it's lows, and high highs, and sometimes low lows. But we're going through it all, right? So this is a vulnerable talk. If there's anything or any topics that specifically that you guys want to talk about, drop us on the comments and we'll go to town on that. Now, with that being said, I hope you enjoyed the combo as much as I did. Till next time, stay focused. You got this. Let's go.